Hey Chandler, this is Councilmember Mark Stewart, and I'm finishing up my 8 years. This is my final few weeks here in Chandler, and it's been an amazing run. You know, today I wanted to share our city manager with you, Joshua Wright. He's joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about where the city's been from the beginning of your tenure, the beginning of mine, to where we are right today, and then where we're headed. And you know, it's been a remarkable 8 years. I can't believe how fast it went. But Josh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to share your vision with the community on kind of where we're headed. And so, you know, maybe to kick off, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your background, and don't hold the ASU pen against me. So.
I always have to bring that up, right? I am a proud University of Arizona grad, but I grew up in Tempe, actually. So I'm a native Arizonan, born and raised here, and had the blessing of actually spending a lot of time in Chandler. Believe it or not, my parents' first home when they moved out here in the early 80s, and their first home they ever bought together was in Chandler. So Chandler was kind of the affordable alternative back then. It seems fun to think that now, but grew up in this area, had a chance to go to U of A, and worked for two other great cities before coming here, but always felt like Chandler was the premier city in Arizona, always where I hoped I would end up someday, and I got a great blessing that happened to me. And actually it was right after you came on the council, so we've been together almost the entire time you've been here.
I remember meeting you through that interview process too, and you told me that you were from Chandler, and I could kind of see that twinkle in your eye when you were talking about the community. It has been a remarkable place for me to raise my family as well, and then to sprout roots, and now my kids are still living here too, so it's great. And now you're raising a family, but tell us what Chandler means to you, as you've seen us kind of evolve into sort of this community of innovation over the years, and what have you seen over the past 8 to 10 years that you've been here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Chandler has always been a strong city. I mean, I think people don't realize that Chandler's a pretty big community. I mean, we're pushing 300,000 people. That makes us in the top 100 largest cities in the country. We're about number 75, 76 last time I checked. So it's a large community, but we have this great sense of community that's never been lost, almost small town type feel. And you see it every day in the activities that we do here, the way the community comes together around celebrations, and the way we really kind of take care of each other. You know, there's a great nonprofit community here. There's a great entrepreneurial ecosystem with thriving companies, and people really want to give of themselves and their time. But I think Chandler has always been extremely stable. We've focused on what matters. We've focused on providing great value to our residents. We've never lost sight of what it means to provide great service to people. And we've made some great decisions along the way. We've really always taken the idea that first and foremost, people need to have a great place to work and be able to provide for their families, and then they can reinvest back in the community. And we have invested heavily in making sure that our community is full of outstanding employers, and that has helped us weather good times and bad, and enabled us to build the great recreation centers and libraries and parks, and keep our streets in great shape, and all the other things that we sometimes forget about, but really are what makes a community so stable and so safe and so great.
Well, you're right. Forgetting about it is a good thing, right? If you wake up in the morning and you don't have to worry about all those things. We always say if you don't know who the mayor is, that means your city's doing a pretty good job. And so that is a testament to the work that you and your incredible staff do. But you know what I think is cool about Chandler, and I think you brought this forward, is you call our residents customers.
Yeah.
And that is a really interesting way to look at going to market for what we do and providing service. Can you tell us a little bit more about why that philosophy sort of lives with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I kind of grew up in the profession with that as a mindset, and a lot of people did, of thinking of, you know, we provide a lot of services that you can relate to the private sector in many ways, that we provide building permits and water service and sewer service and trash pickup, and we do a lot of things that are transactional in nature. And when you're coming here, you're paying us for that, and you should get great value for that. And we really believe that at our core. Obviously, we don't have a bottom line the same way the private sector does. Ours is about generating public value. We're not trying to turn a profit for our shareholders or something like that. We're not beholden to a board of directors that's looking for a stock price to go up. We are simply looking for how we deliver the best value for our residents. But there are some great customer-centric ideals that go into that. And we always try to put the customer first. You'll see things that happen here that are probably unlike a lot of cities, where we really take every single customer interaction really as a great opportunity to connect with them and build trust. And you see that when we go out and ask our residents to trust us with things, and they are overwhelmingly do. Because we actually take the time, and we'll get all hands on deck. I mean, it's almost kind of strange, but for something as small as one person writing into the mayor and council and saying, hey, I need help with this pothole on my street, which we don't have many of in Chandler.
Right.
But if that happens, we've got all hands on deck all the way up looking into how we can get that fixed as quickly as possible. Or even if we don't have the best answer, we at least try to get them to the right place that does. So we really just kind of put ourselves in the customer's shoes. Many of us live here too. Mm-hmm. We want to see this community be great. And so when you put them first in mind, they really are the customer, and the resident comes first.
You know, what you just sort of captured there, it holds true. You know, when mayor and council, we're out in the public, mm-hmm. we get that feedback firsthand of like people are just genuinely happy with the city and the responsiveness. You know, we get the letters from time to time from happy customers that are just surprised, especially if they move from somewhere else.
Yes.
That's the most remarkable thing that I see in the emails that we get, that somebody used to live somewhere else and they couldn't believe how fast we responded to their request or answered their question. And I love that about Chandler, and I think that's one of the things that I think will continue on, and I'm excited about that for my colleagues in the future, and with you at the helm, I think that'll be great. So, you know, absolutely. We've had some big things happen here recently, mm-hmm. Even in the past 8 years, but even in the last 2 years. What are some of the big things that you see that have happened, and then how are you going to parlay those into challenges that we may have in the future?
Yeah. We've had a really exciting few years here. I mean, obviously we came through some very strange times when you were elected for your second term in 2020. We were dealing with a national pandemic. We're dealing with a lot of urban unrest and civil unrest, and it was an opportunity to kind of reevaluate a lot of things. I think Chandler weathered those things very well because of strong leadership, because of the strong culture, because of our strong finances we've always had here. We could do some things that maybe other cities couldn't to weather the storm a little bit. But it forced us to be more innovative again. It forced us to think about technology and service delivery in new ways with our residents. But it also gave us an opportunity to go back out and get a bond package passed in 2021, our first bond ask of our voters in 14 years. And we've been able to deliver some great projects out of that. We've repaved miles upon miles of streets. We are really focused on that bottom line of making sure we have some of the best streets in the whole region. We are building all kinds of new recreational amenities and reinvesting in older recreational amenities. So everything from a new pickleball facility to a new multi-generational center that's going up right now at our Tumbleweed Rec Center, to we just cut the ribbon a few months ago on some amazing new softball and baseball fields out of Tumbleweed. We have a brand new fire station too, which is our busiest station in the whole city, that now can provide more capacity for residents for fire and EMS. So we've delivered on those promises, and it's amazing to see how quickly we've been able to respond, and you can see the value that generates for the community. We've done a great job, I think, in retaining the ranking as one of the safest cities in Arizona too. If you don't have a safe city, what do you really have?
That's the base.
That has to be a feeling of safety, and it's a wonderful feeling for me, and I know for council too, when we get those annual budget surveys back and we get people that say 90+% of our residents feel safe living in Chandler. There are not a lot of large cities where you would hear that nowadays.
That's true.
And it's because we focused on our public safety personnel, taking care of their well-being, making sure we are recruiting and retaining the best and the brightest. And we just have a great team that really cares about making sure the city is successful.
You know, I was thinking about this when we moved here in 2001. We probably wouldn't have strolled around downtown too much off the general square. My son lives close by, a little bit off the square, and he and his girlfriend walking back and forth. 10, 11 o'clock at night after dinner. And I asked him just literally like 2 days ago, I said, do you feel safe? And he's like, yeah. He said, we don't even think about it. It feels safe down here. So that's a testament to the police and the work that we're doing here. And I appreciate that. So, you know, thinking about kind of what's happened recently and where we are today, like what's your long-term vision for Chandler? Where do you see us sort of, it's a never-ending saga, if you will. We're always pushing forward and trying to get better. There's no end of this race.
Right.
What do you see in the future, visionary-wise and innovation-wise for Chandler?
Well, you know, the city from a physical growth standpoint is limited, right? We're bounded on all sides by our neighbors. We can't grow outward anymore. We've got a few pockets inwardly that we can still grow and develop, but we always say we're about 93, 94% built out. That means in terms of greenfield sites that have never been developed on before, there's not much of that land left. And Chandler's continuing to urbanize as a city. The reality is in certain areas, our employment corridors, we're very careful to protect neighborhoods and historic parts of our city. But in certain areas where we envision job growth and more density, we're going to see those continue to rise up, including in the downtown as kind of your first example. I think you're going to see people continue to move to Chandler because it is a city that people want to live in, because it's safe, because it's clean, because there's great jobs here, because there's a great quality of life. They're not going to find a lot of cities where there's a park in every square mile of the city on average. We have 69 city parks for a city of 65 square miles. So there's just a lot to love about Chandler. Now, it's an expensive city. It has gone up in price like all of the cities around the valley. But I think we're going to begin to see that the movement goes north. If you look at the way Chandler was built from the earliest days, downtown was kind of the original urban core. Then the growth went north, then west, then kind of south and east, like a letter C, actually, if you kind of think of it that way. And so I think we're going to see that pattern continue with redevelopment now. We're going to see a lot of new things come back in. We're going to see new growth, new development in areas that maybe were first built in the 1980s or 90s. And you're going to see the city keep up with infrastructure on that and reinvesting in amenities in those areas. We're already doing a lot of the parks back there and building kind of brand new parks over again to give those new residents that are now just moving into those older neighborhoods for the first time the same great experience that my parents had when they first bought a house here in the early 80s.
That's true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that, and you're going to see this sort of full circle
Yes,
right back
we
into
will.
the north area. And I know we're investing a lot of into infrastructure, not only for roads but also for water and things like that. And I know that's a primary goal that you have, and that's one of those things I think people don't realize that goes on behind the scenes. But I bet y'all spend about 4 or 5 hours a week talking about water, don't you?
Absolutely. Water is a statewide issue. We are an arid state. We're a desert state.
Yeah.
I am so appreciative that this council has taken a lead on water issues with conservation measures. We put in place new conservation incentives, pursuing grants for conservation, keeping pace with water rates and sewer rates. No one likes to see rates go up, but if you do it in small chunks every couple years, you don't have to have these huge increases later on down the line. But I think we've also had past leadership that really paid attention to water before it was even trendy to do so.
I was going to say that, yeah.
We started in the 80s when Chandler first began to boom. We did things to secure our water allocation, our water rights, if you will, and bought those things as much as we could when it was still relatively affordable to do so, because it's very hard to do that nowadays. We also invested in technology that was at that time still kind of new. So we invested in things like a reclaimed water utility. The entire southern half of our city, pretty much from Pecos Road down, has a purple pipe system. And we make 100% beneficial reuse of our water, of our effluent. That sounds simple, but it's actually harder to do than you think. And to have it be that efficiently designed is really rare. We use that for a lot of our irrigation, also a lot of our industrial customers to continue to grow employment here. We have a sustainable source of water for them. We also kept all of our well fields active, where a lot of cities said, we're just going to go to surface water. The Central Arizona Project and the Salton Verde Rivers through SRP, that'll take care of us for the foreseeable future. We said, yeah, we want that too, but we also want to make sure we have a backup and backups to the backups. We want to make sure we are always prepared. So water will be an issue we will be dealing with statewide, and Chandler will not be immune to that. But we're starting from a really good place because of great decision making.
Yeah, there was an environment of innovation, just talking about the purple pipes, right? There was a spirit of innovation back then that has really taken hold here in Chandler. So when you think about some of the things that might be happening in Chandler, or just in Arizona overall, or the country overall, what do you see are some of the trends for innovation within municipal work and things like that?
Yeah. I think, a couple of examples that I'll cite in Chandler that I think we're leading the way on. So one, just recently, and I'll stick on the water theme for a second here, we just cut the ribbon on a really amazing, innovative facility. We call it the RWIF, which I know is not a very sexy name, but it's the Reclaimed Water Interconnect
catchy.
Facility, right? We have to give them acronyms, right? This is government after all. But this is a facility that is so innovative and so simple at the same time. And oftentimes innovation comes from simple ideas that are just done really well. You engage in what's called design thinking. You put yourself in the role of the customer, and you look at what the problem you're trying to solve is. What are we actually trying to do? we had an interesting opportunity because of where our facilities were located for both water and wastewater to bring more of our water allocation that we already have rights to, but we couldn't store it here. We didn't have a way to get it here. So it was actually being stored in the West Valley in a facility we shared with multiple other cities. We actually were able to get mostly out of that facility, bring that water here to Chandler, cycle it through a modified treatment process, and then put it into our own aquifer. So we have recharge and recovery, if you will, happening in the same place. Our water rights and our water draw are happening right here. And there's almost nobody that does that, right?
Yeah.
Where you're recharging and using the water in the same place. So that's a huge innovation that's happening right now. Another one that I think is really cool and was recently awarded earlier this year by my professional association, the International City County Management Association, in our diversity, equity, inclusion group. You know, we realize that we have a super diverse community. We always have. We have the largest per capita population of people identify as Asian American Pacific Islander in, I think, any community in Metro Phoenix. We have a long tradition of welcoming everyone here. And you have companies here that have a global reach. And so they are bringing talent from all over the world to Chandler. So we thought, how do we help those people connect with their local government? We want them to always see us as relevant in their lives. And if they don't speak the language, they don't speak English as their first language, that could be a barrier to getting great service from their government. So how do we treat those customers with the same respect?
Sure.
And our DEI group came up with this, hey, let's do these multi-language translators. And we piloted it as an experiment in our organization. We had great results. And now you can go to the front desk, and you will be able to in more places soon too, of most of our high customer contact points around the city. And you'll be able to speak whatever your native language is and still get great service.
Sure, it's just like private industry, right?
Makes
you
total
want
sense.
multilingual customer service agents working with
That's right.
your community. And
That's
so
exactly right.
That's really cool. That's really good to hear. You know, I think for me, you know, being here for almost 25 years, you talked about the people, right?
Yep.
And the reality is that that's really what makes Chandler what it is. And we, you know, it's exciting to talk about water pipes and things like that. For me, for wonks, right? We love that stuff to kind of understand how it all works, and it's kind of that Sim City that we used to play as kids.
Yeah.
And it's neat to kind of see the journey of where we were to where we are today. But where the rubber hits the road is the people, right?
Yep.
And it's your interview, but I want to add this. We have such an involved community, right? We have so many people that sign up for boards and commissions and show up at our council meetings and send us emails about the things that they're looking forward to or things that we can make better, right? To help that customer experience.
Right.
And so I love the way that you and your team embrace that, right? Embrace and really go out and cultivate user experience feedback.
Yep.
And that's so valuable. And it's why I look at and why we talk about this is a company, right? This is not it's government, right?
Yep.
But only because you've got some elected officials that sit on the board. Other than that, it should be run as an organization. Maybe it's not. It's a nonprofit, right?
Right.
That's running services for the community. And you've nailed it, and I think your staff is feeling that culture. So I'm really grateful for the work that you're doing because, like I said, you know, we get up in the morning, we go to work. We don't have to worry about all that stuff. It's safe. The roads don't have potholes. The grass is cut at the parks. Everybody's genuinely happy with the way things are going on here, and they don't know who the mayor is. No, they do. They know who you are, Mayor. Everybody knows who you are.
Well, it starts with great leadership at the top, and
yeah.
we've had a great relationship the last
It's
number of
been fun.
years. We've had a lot of fun together, and
Yeah.
we have council members who really care too. We have a mayor and city
Absolutely.
council who are part of that people of the community. They really are representative of the multiple nonprofits and businesses, and we have a partner first mentality here. We always try to figure out how we can work with our neighbors and other organizations to deliver great value.
Sure. Well, if you hung on and listened to all this, we can go talk about water again if you want. But you know, there's a way you can get involved, right? We've got applications out for board and
We do.
commissions right now.
That's right.
There's a number of other ways you can get involved. What are some ideas that you've got for folks that are watching this that, you know, they're like, hey, I want to get involved. I want to do something more, you know, and give a couple hours a month of their time to give that feedback and that user experience that we're looking for.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of, you mentioned one of them is getting on a board or commission. We've got a variety of boards and commissions, pretty much anything you could be interested in, from transportation to arts and culture to parks and recreation. If you're interested in anything, we have quite a few openings coming up, especially in the early part of next year. We love to get new voices on there. We love to hear different perspectives. We also have some other initiatives going on right now that I think are really special. We're kicking off a new general plan. So by state law, every 10 years, we have to adopt a new kind of master land use, master guiding document that articulates our vision for the community, and again, specifically with land use and zoning, like where do we see things actually getting built? So we will need public input on that. We're going to be anywhere and everywhere getting out into the community. We want to hear, what do you want this community to look like in 10 years or 20 years or 50 years? Because that's really important that we hear that voice. Another major initiative that I know we're going to hear some feedback on from the public is we're talking about another bond election potentially next year. We have a citizen commission that is reviewing that right now because of inflation. We need to go back and, while keeping tax rates flat and not increasing taxes, but how do we make sure we can keep up the momentum of investing in infrastructure and other services? And so we're going to be looking for feedback. We've already got a 31-member panel, and it's super diverse. It's people from all over the community, from all walks of life, that have volunteered to be part of that. We will have many other opportunities. And one last opportunity I would ask our viewers to look at is our budget survey too. So every year we go out. It's open until January 10th of 2025. We really do want to hear what you think about how we're doing and what projects, programs, services are a priority to you. I know you as the council read that document, take it very seriously. We do too, and really try to craft our investments to match the expectations of our residents.
Well, we'll see if we can add that link to this post too.
We can. I'm sure we can.
So that people can dive in. You know, I got to tell you, I am, you know, Chandler, you're in good hands. Like, you know, as a kid that grew up here, you've got the twinkle in your eye still for Chandler, and it matters to you. We've text back and forth at all hours of the night, just trying to do that customer service thing. And so I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for the work that you and your team are doing. We've got an incredible staff, and it starts at the top, and you're the CEO, and you're making it work. So I'm grateful for that.
Likewise, and congratulations to you on your election to the Maricopa County Board
of
Supervisors.
You know what? I hope I can take a little bit of Chandler to Maricopa County.
I think that'd be awesome.
Bring that innovative mind spirit and customer service strategies. There. I'm sure they already have got a lot of that in place.
They've got a great team there too, but we'll look forward to continue working with you in your new role.
Well, you know what? This concludes my 8 years and what I think is the best city in America. I'm grateful to the community, right? I'm grateful for the feedback that you have given me, either by text or phone call or whatever that may be, because I can share that with Josh and we can make this a better city and a better place to live. So, you know, from the bottom of my heart, you know, thanks Chandler for everything. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to go towards downtown Phoenix for a little while and help out at Maricopa County and hope I can create some value there for them like we have done here in Chandler. So thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care.